What I like to do this evening, I much prefer a Q&A format because you've all heard it before. I guess most of you have heard me talk at least once. I mean, so rather than talk about me or the book or whatever, I'd like to hear what you're thinking about. I want to preface with one thing though. I was talking with Jan before the program started this evening, and I asked her how things were going at the store, and she said, and I've heard this from a number of people, that with the election of President Trump, interest in prepping and preparedness and everything else went kind of off the cliff. It should have been the exact opposite. I do not yet in any way see our current president as a Winston Churchill, but I do see some analogies. Well, Winston Churchill in the 30s was a voice alone in the wilderness. In fact, Bill Manchester's incredible epic, what was supposed to be a trilogy, but he couldn't quite finish it. In fact, it was a North Carolina author finished this incredible biographies of Churchill. And volume 1 was The Young Lion. Volume 2 was The Wilderness Years. Winston Churchill was a pariah in England for almost 20 years. In the 30s, he was trying to give voice to the threats of totalitarianism, the two faces of it, Nazism and communism. In fact, when Neville Chamberlain crawled on his belly to Adolf Hitler at the Munich conference, and crowds cheered Chamberlain. Maybe some of you, how many of you ever seen that footage of Chamberlain getting off the plane with his infamous, "I bring you peace in our time," and hundreds of thousands of people are at the airport cheering him on. Winston Churchill was a lone voice. He gave a speech shortly thereafter in which he rather accurately predicted there will be war, and he even at one point was saying it's going to hit within the year. Nobody wanted to listen to it. Nobody. In fact, the BBC banned him for quite a while. He was not even allowed on British radio. Winston Churchill was right. When you stop appeasement and you stand up to the thugs of the world, it's going to turn into a confrontation. The difference between 1938 and now is it's a confrontation involving nuclear weapons. Could we be EMP'd? Well, if anybody asks me that question, I'll try and answer it. But we are facing a serious crisis. If anything, I'd like to think that Jan's store is going to be flooded on Monday. And no, I don't get a percentage. She introduced me to my wife. That was more than enough. Well, you set the groundwork for me to meet my wife. We're going to be in a terrible period of multiple crises over the next year or two. It's been a long time coming. But if we keep appeasing and we kick the can down the road another 5 or 10 or 15 years, we'll be facing opponents not with 10 or 15 nuclear weapons. We'll be facing opponents with potentially scores, even 100 or more nuclear weapons. Some people say Syria and the mother of all bombs were subtexts for a message to North Korea. I also see North Korea as a message to Iran, and if you've been following the news the last couple of days, Iran is gearing up. But I thought we gave them a lot of money not to be nice guys. The crisis ain't over yet, folks, and I pray that I'm wrong. You know, rather than 30, 40 years from now, people saying, wow, Forstchen wrote a book and all these people are alive. As I've said in a couple of my forewords, I hope I'm totally forgotten, that it never happened. Maybe it might not happen if everybody in America was prepared. And it was a message sent out to the world. We're prepared at a civilian level, we're prepared at a military level, we're prepared at a foreign policy level. If so, it will never happen. But I don't know how prepared we are at this moment. And what we see is sometimes very frustrating discourse, and I think it's gone over the edge since Trump was elected. Other leaders in the world see it as absolute weakness and social divide that they can take advantage of. So those are the reasons. Jan, I hope I hear a call from you in a week or two saying, you know, people are getting interested again and really being prepared.